Hi everyone and welcome back. It is time for us to talk about the special markings that can be found on the cursor and on the rule. Let's start with the cursor. We can see that it has two markings labeled as kW, which stands for kilowatt, two markings labeled as HP, which stands for horsepower, and an unlabeled marking. So, let us focus on the kilowatt and horsepower markings on the C and D scales. Their use is sort of obvious. They allow to convert between kilowatt and horsepower by moving the cursor only. For example, if we place the kilowatt marking over 1 on the D scale, then we find that the corresponding value in horsepower is 1.34. Here, 3 kilowatts is 4.02 horsepower. Of course, the reverse conversion is possible. Let us select 6 horsepower and we find that it corresponds to 4.48 kilowatts. Now, we also have a pair of kilowatt and horsepower markings on the A and B scales. These can be useful depending on the type of computations we want to make. For example, if we are given a value of 30 horsepower that we need first to convert into kilowatts and then extract the square root, the operations can be done in a single step. All we have to do is to move the cursor so as to place the horsepower marking over the value 30 on the A scale, then directly read the square root of the converted value on the D scale, 4.73. Now the unlabeled marking is useful for obtaining the diameter of a circle if we know its area. For example, to find the diameter of a circle of area 6 square meters, we place the marking over the value 6 on the A scale and we read a diameter of 2.76 meters on the D scale. Of course, the operation can be reversed. If we have a circle with a diameter of 5 meters, then we find that its area is 19.6 square meters. That's all for the markings on the cursor. Now on the A and B scales, there is a mark that is labeled as M. It corresponds to the inverse of pi, times 100. It might appear to be useless because performing a multiplication is as fast as performing a division. Yes, but actually no. It depends on the flow of operations. Keep in mind that since division is the reverse operation of multiplication, the slide rule after a multiplication always ends up ready for division, while after a division, it always ends up ready for a multiplication. So, when several operations need to be chained, it is always faster to alternate multiplications and divisions as much as possible. Let us see a concrete example. Suppose we want to compute the square root of 6.2 divided by the product of 5.4 and pi. Since the A and B scales are identical and logarithmic, they can be used for computations and divisions in the exact same manner as the C and D scales. In the present case, it is advantageous to use the A and B scales for these operations so that the result of the square root can be directly read on the D scale. Let's do it in two different ways and see which one is faster. First, we don't use the M mark. We start by dividing 6.2 by 5.4, so we place the divisor 5.4 on the B scale over the dividend 6.2 on the A scale. We move the cursor to the index of B. Now the result needs to be divided by pi, so we place the divisor pi on the B scale under the hairline, and we move the cursor to the index of B so that the hairline indicates the result of the fraction on the A scale. We don't need to read that result. Instead, we can directly read the value of the square root on the D scale. 6.05, which needs to be divided by 10 because we use here the right index. The final result is therefore 0.605. So we chain two divisions which required us to move twice both the slide and the cursor. Let us now take advantage of the M mark. We set up again the division of 6.2 by 5.4 the intermediate result is on the A scale above the index of the B scale. But we don't need to read it because the slide rule is already set for performing a multiplication. So all we have to do is to multiply by 1 over pi by moving the cursor to the M mark. And we read the result directly on the D scale, 6.05. It needs to be divided by 10, the square root of 100, because the actual value of M is 100 over pi. The final result is of course the same as before, 0.605, but this time we move the slide and the cursor only once, thus the operation was twice as fast. If we pay attention, we can find on the A and B scales an extra tick mark near the value 80. It corresponds to the value pi over 4 times 100. It is a factor that appears in many formulas, so it is handy to have it pre-computed. In particular, it can also be used in order to compute the area of a circle from its diameter. Finally, on the C scale, we can find two markings labeled as C and C1. These corresponds to the value square root of 4 over pi and square root of 40 over pi, respectively. Among other things, they provide other ways to obtain the area of a circle, but they are particularly convenient for obtaining the volume of a cylinder. For example, let us compute the volume of a cylinder of diameter 3 inches and height 6 inches. All we have to do is to place the C mark over 3 on D and move the cursor to 6 on B. We read the volume on A, 42.4 cubic inches. If instead we want the volume of a cylinder of diameter 7 inches and height 5 inches, we can't use the C mark because the 5 on B is out of range. In that case, we use the C1 mark instead. And we find a volume of 19.2, which we need to multiply by 10 because the divisor C1 is square root of 10 bigger than C. The volume is therefore 192 cubic inches. This concludes our tutorial on using a slide rule. Please give it a like, subscribe, write a comment, and share on your social media.